Hey guys, what's going on? Andrew coming at you, your favorite American guy, living in Sweden, and I got this shirt just because I think this shirt will be hilarious and funny in Sweden like 6 months to a year from now. Probably too soon right now, and in no way, shape, or form makes me think that I think that A$AP Rocky is 100% innocent. I did a video on this before based on information that had recently, or what came out right away, and I got some things wrong, and so I want to go through and correct this. But this shirt is just for like to be humorous, that's all, so don't take it too seriously. Now, since this case came out, more information has come out. I've taken some time to learn more about the Swedish law system, and I've spoken to 2 lawyers on this case to gather more information. I'm sure I'm probably going to get a few things wrong, but this video is intended to educate people in the United States and the rest of the world kind of how the Swedish prison system, or basically justice system, works. In early July, a video came out that showed A$AP Rocky and his crew tossing a guy to the ground and getting involved in a fight. They allegedly hit the guy with a broken bottle. There were some kicks. I heard some things of possibly broken ribs and things like that. And that was the original video. And then A$AP Rocky released information on his Instagram, which definitely made it seem like these 2 guys were following him. And the 2 guys whacked him with his bodyguard with a pair of headphones. They were repeatedly asking him to leave. So we saw that side of it, and that side of it made A$AP Rocky and his crew look completely and totally innocent as far as not wanting to look for a fight. But in Sweden, there is a law that states that you are allowed to defend yourself at a reasonable level of force. So basically, if someone's hitting you, it would be okay to toss the guy on the ground. But as soon as you do that first kick or that second kick, especially if the person doesn't have a weapon or anything like that, at that point it's becoming excessive force. It's like if you punch someone in the head and you knock them out, and then you go on the ground and you punch them again. At that second punch, there's no reason for it. So that was the original look at as far as being an assault case, which I feel like in America maybe it would be a little bit different. I think we would agree with it in the same sense, but maybe it would be a little bit more lax to it if someone was hitting or messing with you first, as it was originally stated. Now, A$AP Rocky then turned himself into police, and he went to not prison, but basically he was waiting for his arraignment, so it's like the prison before the prison.
This is the shirt before the shirt.
I mean, it's still kind of prison in a sense if you think about it, because you're not allowed to leave it. One thing I think is absolutely ridiculous, though, is the claim that he was in such inhumane conditions. As someone that's lived in Sweden for 7 years, I think it's utterly ridiculous to say that the Swedish prisons are inhumane. I mean, I would guarantee you prisoners in the United States would love to come to a Swedish prison. I mean, you got like an Xbox or a PlayStation. It's like having a little mini hotel room. The quality of food there is way better than what you're going to get in the United States. So that is kind of a joke. Now, it is possible that he claimed that someone was crazy next to him. I don't know. I wasn't there. One thing I think you can make an argument about is that, like, you know, he wasn't able to contact so many people on the outside. So in that sense, if you're not allowed to see other people, that could be kind of considered a little bit inhumane as far as like the solitary confinement stuff goes. But it's very possible at the same time. My guess is he would get a chance to be outside every day and, you know, and hopefully talk to some other people. But maybe the reason he wasn't allowed to talk to so many people on the outside is because the Swedish authorities were gathering information at the same time. Since this video came out and the information was being gathered and we're waiting for Rocky, he's not charged with a crime at this point. They were just gathering information. So, and the reason he was there is because the Swedish system, in Sweden, they don't have bail. They haven't had bail since like the 1700s. Whereas like in the United States, you can, if you're charged with a crime and you're in the same kind of place waiting for arraignment, you can have someone sponsor you and pay a bond. Let's say it's like $100,000 for you to go in jail. They'll spot you the money and you maybe pay $10,000 of that. And if you don't pay it, or if you run, Dog the Bounty Hunter goes after you or someone else. So that's where that comes from. We don't have that same thing in the States. And you know, people were upset that A$AP Rocky was not allowed to leave Sweden. But to be fair, if like the Swedish House Mafia or another Swedish group was in the United States and charged with a crime or accused of a crime, I'm not so sure that we would just let him leave the United States and go directly back to Sweden. So I think it's only fair to say that as well. In Sweden, you're allowed to defend yourself, but I did say that he used what's considered like excessive force. From my understanding, it looks like when he used the excessive force with this group, they didn't want to fight, but then they kind of lost their cool. So talking to a lawyer, I did find that something that the jury could maybe take into account is that he was angry at the time. Also learned that the jury could take into account that the other people's criminal history. Basically, the men accusing them had some criminal history when they were minors, and then recently when they were 18. So that could also change how seriously they were taken, speaking to the jury as well. So the jury is allowed to take into account that they were angry, and the fact that the accusers do have somewhat of a criminal record, and the accusers were asking for a decent amount of money, like 15 to 20,000 US dollars, which is to Swedish standards excessive for that level of assault, where there's very little injury. But that's just something I want to state there. So later on, we had some new evidence come out, though, and I'm not going to show any of it here because I don't want to get demonetized, but TMZ released another video where it appears, I don't see A$AP Rocky in this video, and I'm sure there were other videos in the court, but I wasn't there, but we get to see his bodyguard talking with the same guy in question, and he picks the dude up. You could argue by the neck or whatever. They said that he grabbed him by the neck and choke slammed him down like this. From the video that I saw, it looked like he did pick him up and did bring him down, more like towards his back, but that's only the angle I saw that was on TMZ, so I didn't see the whole thing. Now, it looks like this could have possibly happened beforehand, so this is why the court also decided not to charge the other guys involved, because they made an argument that they were possibly defending themselves. Looking at this whole entire case, I don't think that, looking at it again, like I originally felt like maybe the Swedish system was making an example just out of A$AP Rocky in general, but learning more about the Swedish system, I don't really think so in this case as much. I do think that they were just trying to gather all the evidence, but I do think it's a little bit unfortunate how long it took. But you know, maybe 30 days in a court system at the same time would be faster. Maybe it would have been better if we had better information and more information, but I guess when you're doing an investigation, you don't want to do that. So now we're talking about like A$AP Rocky's been released to like the United States, so what's probably most likely going to happen? Well, he's either going to be charged with assault or not. And like I said before, if they take into account that A$AP Rocky turned himself in with his crew, in that alleged video where it started, I don't see A$AP Rocky's the one picking the guy up, so I don't know if he was there when the incident happened or not. Maybe he was, maybe it wasn't. So whether A$AP Rocky was there or not, at that point, I don't know. What'll probably happen, I do think that him and his crew will be charged with assault, but because they've already served like almost 30 days in the jail before the jail, they wouldn't have to serve any more time. I'm not sure how much money that this guy could be possibly awarded that was searching for money. That, if it's been decided, please let me know, but I'm not sure about that because a decision hasn't been made. But the dude's not going to get $20,000 because that's not fair. All in all, I just think this is an unfortunate case. As I will say, if you are in Sweden, like probably what A$AP Rocky should have done was call the police. But I can understand being a rapper or someone famous, maybe not wanting to have the police involved. And I'm not trying to accuse A$AP and his crew of anything, but I can't imagine American rappers being in Sweden and not having some weed on them. I just think that probably most American rappers do, which is probably why you don't want to have the police around. Cough, cough, Snoop Dogg. So that's everything that I can see and explain. But A$AP Rocky is not going to have to come back here and go to jail. I'm sure at the end of the day, it's not going to be taken as seriously. Like it was bad what happened, but it wasn't like a serious crime. So he's not going to have to come back. But it is unfortunate, maybe. If he isn't charged with assault, which I do think he'll be charged with assault, but if he isn't charged with assault, the amount of money that was lost by not doing those concerts, I do think that's something the court can also take into account, the amount of money lost in the millions of dollars by just not being able to do this. A$AP Rocky's being smart, though. I mean, he's not speaking up or talking about it. I'm sure it was not a fun experience for him. I'm glad that he's back in the States. I think the whole thing is unfortunate. I don't think the people should have kept following him around. I think it's unfortunate that something happened before that. I will never completely know unless I get to see all the footage that was laid out in the court. But it appears that A$AP Rocky wasn't as innocent as originally thought. But again, I don't know if he was there when that guy picked him up and threw him down. That has not been known to me based on, I have not seen a video of that yet. But it does appear that his crew struck first. So, that was like a tough one to go through and explain everything on. I'm sure I messed some things up or made some people mad, but I hope not. This was just supposed to be for like educational purposes. So if you like this video and appreciate it, I would like it if you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, I talk about a lot of things in Sweden, living here, and just life in general. Sometimes to compare stuff between Sweden and the United States. Feel free to subscribe, guys, and I will see everybody in the next video. Hej då!